I love Comfrey. It is a carefree herb that is useful in so many ways. It can be used as a compress for many injuries, including broken bones, sprains. It is beneficial as a tea. The leaves can be used as a fertilizer in compost tea, or just chop and drop. And the root has also been used, but I generally stick with the leaves and flowers. Hi, I'm Mary Bourne, traditional naturopath, and I love sharing natural remedies with people for better health. Natural remedies have been around hundreds, even thousands of years because they work, and they work on people. So like this plant that we're talking about has a long history of helping people get healthier. You wouldn't sit down to a dinner of comfrey. The leaves are fuzzy. It has a kind of a bitter alkaloid taste to it. It is not one that you would consider to add flavor. The little flowers might, they're sweet and tender, and they would probably do well in a salad, but the leaves themselves are not what we consider an edible in a salad. Comfrey, however, is loaded with available calcium. Not all calcium is easily absorbed by the body, and calcium in comfrey is. And I think that's what attributes its long history of supporting bone health. Native Americans called comfrey bone knit because it works so fast in helping bones heal. It was also a tissue healer, and it helped to stop bleeding. It also has some pain relieving benefit. So you can drink it as a tea, and once you drain the herb from the tea, you can use that as a compress. So growing comfrey, let me get that slide. You want to make sure that where you plant comfrey, it's going to stay. So it has a long taproot. So make sure that where you are putting it, it's going to stay. Now, it doesn't spread readily like mint does, but occasionally it will send up another shoot, another plant, which you can plant somewhere else or share with somebody. My comfrey grows up to 6 feet if I don't take time to harvest it during the summer. So it can be staked for upright support. Otherwise, it has a tendency with rain to flop over and take up a lot more territory than you really want it to have. It can also be, I take a string or twine and wrap it around and hold it against a stake. And that also helps to support it. So I make comfrey poultices all the time. I actually have some in my freezer at all times. If I get low, I make more because you never know when an injury is going to take place. So I like to make ahead and freeze it. And these, my compresses are about 3 inches. You can buy at the dollar store these, you open up the compress and you put the comfrey in, and then you fold it up again. And then I wrap it in saran wrap and then stack those in a Ziploc bag and label it comfrey compresses, because you want to be able to identify what they are. You want somebody else maybe to go in, so you need to know where in your freezer you're keeping them so that a family member can grab it if you're the one that's injured. So I discuss a herbal salve in my first aid video, and I'll link to that in the description below. I've mentioned making herbal salves in quite a few things. There are lots of people on YouTube that go through the process of making herbal salves. You generally start out with an oil that's been infused with certain herbs. People will use things like calendula, plantain, but one of my favorites is comfrey. It is such a great tissue healer. So natural remedies are safe and effective, and the best part is that when you make them yourself, you know what the ingredients are. So my compress is usually comprised of aloe vera gel, enough liquid to blend this in a blender and it doesn't bog down. And sometimes I will use aloe vera liquid. Sometimes I use the gel and add purified water. I generally will add an essential oil of some kind. In this case, I usually use lavender because lavender itself is a tissue healer, especially when you're talking about burns. It is exceptionally beneficial for burns. And this is how I dressed my ankle when I sprained my ankles. I put the compress on it, covered it with saran wrap, and let it seep in. I did that about 3 times during the day. And in between, I would use ice. So I also took different herbal supplements. I took a combination called bone skin poultice, which I think really helped with the not only the pain of it, but accelerated the healing process. And also I did a combination of white willow bark and other herbs that help to reduce inflammation. So if you want to learn on that video, you can send me a comment below and I will answer that. So comfrey's been cultivated since about 400 BC as a healing herb. So you would know that if it was dangerous, somewhere in there, somebody would have stopped using it and told somebody else not to use it. But in our country, we have a strong lobby system for the drug company. And when an herb becomes excessively used by people, people are looking into it and using it instead of medications, then the FDA steps in and says, oh, wait a minute, somebody down the road got a liver condition because they used it. And that's what happened to comfrey root. It was immediately taken off the counters. You couldn't find it. For a long time, you couldn't find comfrey. You had to grow it if you wanted to use it. And now there are available comfrey tea and things like that. They've loosened the bootstrap a little bit so that people can use it as a tea. I like to use my tea, blend it with mint, as it makes a more pleasant tea. So comfrey has a long history of the Greeks and Romans used comfrey to stop heavy bleeding. They treated bronchial problems. They healed wounds and broken bones. So comfrey tea can soothe your digestive tract, preventing abdominal discomfort and heartburn, especially when you blend it with mint. It has a wonderful soothing feel to it. So it's very calming. You can blend other things like chamomile to it, but there are some people that are allergic to the things in the daisy family, so they can't tolerate chamomile. So the plant can grow up to 6 feet, and I like I said, I generally like to stake mine up. I will do what's called a chop and drop, and it is where you take the leaves of the plant and actually just chop them up into 3 to 4 inch squares, put it on the soil, especially great for tomatoes, because one of the things that tomatoes have a problem with is the uptake of calcium. And this is one of the contributing factors to blossom end rot. So if you chop up comfrey and lay it within a few days of the watering it and the sun being at it, it actually turns brown and blends in with the soil. And you can then actually just kind of work it into the soil like you would any fertilizer. And I have also made something called comfrey tea for a compost, and you want to dedicate a bucket to this. This is one of the smelliest type fertilizers that you can get your hands on. I do something called aerated worm casting tea now that has no odor at all to it, and I really like it. But this is a powerful way of free fertilizer that you can simply chop up some comfrey leaves, put them, fill a bucket about 2/3 full of the comfrey leaves, take some water, fill up the bucket to within a couple inches of the top, cover it and let it sit for about a week, week and a half, something like that. And when you open the cover, you'll know the tea is done by the color of it will be this muddy brown, and it will have a pungent odor. So basically making comfrey tea for composting is way different than making comfrey tea for drinking purposes. So please share these videos with other people, with your friends, so that they can make a decision on natural health themselves. There are many videos on my YouTube channel that talk about different herbs. I've dedicated this whole entire year, 2021, to talking about single herbs and how they can benefit both culinary and in medicinal ways. So look into those. I have one on borage, which a lot of people will say that comfrey and borage have a lot of common indications. I think that borage is a wonderful plant, and I encourage you to look into that video, which I will link in the description below. So food is our medicine. It can also be our downfall. So make sure you are choosing nutritionally dense food that contributes to your good health. And if you have specific questions, I encourage you to email me, Dr. Mary at bornforhealth.com. And I hope that this video has been beneficial, that you've enjoyed some information that I imparted. And I present these videos about once a week. And if you subscribe, you will get notified each week, especially if you ring the little bell. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have questions, you can comment on it, and please share this video with your friends. So be thankful for people and the gifts of nature, the flowers, and all the joy around you. Thank you for viewing. Until next time, this is Dr. Mary for the health of it.